YouTube. For the last 5 years or so, I've always carried two cameras with me. A crop sensor camera with a long lens, and a full frame camera with, down with the wider angle lenses. And I've been thinking today, and looking at some old pictures and stuff, and I mean, this full frame camera with these two lenses have done 90% of my photography in the last 5 years. Almost all my photography is done with these. And I'm doing mostly landscapes and nature photography, plants, and and waterfalls and stuff like that. And I use this crop sensor camera basically for wildlife, shooting birds or real long telephoto shots. And I also carry this little lens with me, a 10-18, for the crop sensor, only for video. So basically my trinity of lenses that I've carried with me for the last 5 years is a 16-35 f4 Canon lens, a Tamron 45mm f1.8. That's my most used lens out of all of them, my all-time favorite lens. And up until about 5 weeks ago, I always had the 70-300 on my crop sensor camera. But 5 weeks ago, I sold the 70-300 and bought this 100-400. So up until 5 weeks ago, if I needed a longer range, more than 45 millimeters for this camera, I could always pop the 70-300 off my crop sensor camera, and and I'd usually shoot around 70-85 millimeters with that 70-300 for landscapes, just to get that little bit of extra reach. But since I sold that 70-300, now if I pop my long lens on the full frame, I'm going from a 45 millimeter to 100. So there's a gap I'm missing in focal range. I mean, I could pop this 45 millimeter on the crop sensor and get about a 72 millimeter shot, but it's not the same as full frame. Maybe it's in my head or something, but personally, I think the full frame is better for landscape than a crop sensor. Not that there's anything wrong. I can basically do everything I'm doing with the full frame with this, but it'd be a lot more work and a lot different way of shooting, and lenses would be mixed up, and maybe it's a psychological thing, but full frame is my favorite way to go when it comes to 90% of my shooting. So an idea crossed my mind. I've got 5 other lenses in a Pelican box that I seldom ever use, but nothing fills that gap. I got an 85 millimeter lens, but I don't have room in my bag for another lens, so I basically need to replace this 45 millimeter. I'm not getting rid of the 16-35. I use that wide angle, down around 18-24 millimeters a lot doing landscapes and even waterfalls and stuff. Then this is basically my all-around general lens, the 45 millimeter. But what I'm thinking of getting a 24-70 to replace the 45, so then I could go, from 16-24 to the 24-70, and if I need a longer reach for my full frame camera, I'll just grab this 100-400. So basically with the 24-70, the gap narrows. I'm only missing 70-100, which really you can step up or forward or backwards to make that up. But that's what I think I'm going to do. I need another lens like I need a hole in the head, but I think in the next couple months, if I can score a couple good jobs in my business and make a little bit extra money, I think I'm going to replace my all-time favorite lens. I hate to do it because this lens is like, even at 1.8, it's razor sharp corner to corner. You stop it down to f4 or f5.6, I mean, this is a perfect little lens. I mean, and it's one of the cheapest lenses I ever bought. I mean, it's my most used lens, and it's the cheapest lens I own. Go figure. But that's what I think I'm gonna do. I've been looking at the Tamron 24-70 2.8. I mean, all the reviews on it and everything sound good, and sounds like it's better than the Sigma 24-70. It's better than the Canon 24-70. Maybe not in sharpness, but it's stabilized. So in real world shooting, you probably get a lot more keepers with the Tamron than you would the Canon, just from the stabilization. So I think it's going to be the Tamron 24-70 that I'm going to get to fill the missing focal range, to lessen the missing range. So look for that video coming in another month or so. The new 24-70 Tamron 2.8. Talk to you later. Bye.